There's a 1-2 punch against the Trump administration coming out of Judge Zinnus today in Maryland. Those aren't my words. Those were the headlines from Fox News. 1-2 punch against Trump. Yeah, because Trump is violating a United States Supreme Court 9-0 affirmed decision by Judge Zinnus, soon to be Justice Zinnus, if the Democrats ever get back in power, that ordered that the Trump administration facilitate the return of Armando Abrego Garcia. He has been violating that order ever since, and now the judge has done the 1-2 punch. First, she's granted the other side, the Abrego Garcia side, the right to finally, after several months of jerking around by the Trump administration, or as the judge once said in a hearing, I feel like a cat and you're moving the string around trying to jerk me around. Those days are over. She granted permission for them to file by next week, a week from today, their motion for sanctions. I'll talk about that. The second punch, she's ripped away the veil of secrecy. Donald Trump and his henchmen keep filing everything in the court on the public docket under seal, secret, redacted. This is a public justice system. Federal judges are very squeamish about hiding everything from the public and from the press. And the press intervened, 14 different media organizations, other independent journalists to say, we got to see what's on the docket. The public has a right to the table. Prosecutors and defendants, yes, but the public too. You get indicted in public, you get arraigned in public, you get convicted in public, or you get exonerated in public. And we got to be there for it. So the judge granted that. And now we'll be able to start seeing more and more documents that have already been filed on the public docket. But let's get to the headline. The clock for contempt has ticked closer to midnight for Donald Trump and the Trump administration, because they have not done a darn thing, apparently, to facilitate the return of Armando Abrego Garcia. They've told the judge that they're doing diplomatic means, and then they've had people like Marco Rubio, the head of the Secretary of State, say that he's not doing anything, and he's never going to tell a judge whether he is or he isn't. The Trump administration taunts the judge and the justice system by saying, you're never going to see Abrego Garcia return, all because Donald Trump falsely believes that Armando Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13, a gang, which he's not. There's no proof of it. He's never committed any crimes. He was living in Maryland, married to an American citizen with a couple of kids. He left El Salvador. His family owned a very successful business, and the facts that have been put together by a federal judge in America before he was wrongfully removed were that he was the subject of a extortion scandal, extortion plot to put pressure on his parents to pay money to MS-13, and they basically kidnapped the kid and put him in there. No record of criminality, none. No tattoos on his fingers. That's AI fake, all right? So Donald Trump should be bringing him back. Supreme Court 9-0 agreed with Judge Zinnus that she was right in her order. She was right about how she's administrating justice in her courtroom. They're right about how she's protecting due process rights of Armando Abrego Garcia. And now there's been a subsequent, all spring, we got another order from the Supreme Court, 6-3, 7-2, all supporting the proposition that everybody's entitled in the United States to get before a federal judge on a writ of habeas corpus in order to have their due process rights determined and have the facts play out. Not rumors, not innuendo, not aspersions, innocent until proven guilty, even if you're not from this country originally. And so the judge, for the last 2 months, we've been watching it carefully, has allowed the other side, the Abrego Garcia side, to develop their case for sanctions, take depositions, get documents. She's now fed up completely with the Trump administration. She told them, you're pushing it and you're going to be found in contempt. This was just a week ago when they produced one document in 2 months and then asked for more time to produce more. And she said, no, you're holding back on documents. You're telling me the state secrets privilege applies. Give me the documents you say are state secrets. I'll review them in camera. And they're supposed to be produced actually today. But in the meantime, she's not waiting around. She's given permission to Abrego Garcia's lawyers to bring it. Bring your motion. I am ready for it. She will be not the first judge to find the Trump administration in contempt. She'll be the second judge, because Judge Boasberg in D.C., the chief judge there, already found probable cause that the Trump administration is in criminal contempt, meaning people are going to go to jail for how they handled the original 250 people that got sent to El Salvador, not named Abrego Garcia, over his order to ground those planes. That's stayed because it's up on appeal. But he already made that ruling and that finding. We reported on it about a month and a half ago. And now you're going to have Judge Zinnus be the first judge. It's probably going to be civil contempt, meaning sanctions and fines. And then she's going to start striking pleadings. She's going to get defaults against the Trump administration. And if she doesn't like how they're not complying by that point, then we're going to start looking at jail time for people in the Department of Justice because she has had it. Here is the, let me read to you from the paperless order. That's a docket entry. Doesn't have, it's an order, but we don't have more than that. Here's the actual paperless order for us. Right off the docket. Plaintiff's request for leave to file a motion for sanctions pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 37 is granted. They have a week, and then Donald Trump and his administration have a week. And that's it. Now, separately, she entered into a order here on unsealing court records that have been sealed. And what she said is she doesn't believe Trump, who says everything has to remain sealed in order to protect the national security and prevent the dissemination of sensitive information. She says on page 3, although the court does not wholly agree with the defendant's overbroad characterizations of the government's interest at stake, the court does recognize that certain information touches upon the state secrets privilege as applied to Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the State Department. The propriety and scope of such invocation is still pending resolution. She's still considering it. So for now, she's going to take the following actions. She went one by one to a series of docket entries, and she's instructed the clerk to unredact and unseal the various parts of it. We're going to see about half a dozen documents that we never were able to see before. And they're going to be up on the docket. We'll report on them en masse right here on Legal AF. But that is the 1-2 punch. And let me just tell you what it means. She is going to find them in contempt. They've produced one document. They refuse to answer her questions. They don't tell her where Obrego Garcia is or what they've done to try to release him or facilitate his return, all in violation of the Supreme Court's 9-0 ruling. As I joked, you can't get the Supreme Court to agree on what to order from Sweetgreens, let alone 9-0 that Zinnus was right and Trump was wrong. Judge Zinnus was right and Trump was wrong about Obrego Garcia and his due process rights. They are going down the drain. Why the Trump administration is pressing a losing hand, I can't for the life of me figure it out. They've already agreed to return another guy just like Obrego Garcia, who they sent to Mexico illegally. They're bringing him back. Bring this guy back. No, it's because they painted themselves in the corner and Donald Trump doesn't like to be told what to do. But he's already been told by the Supreme Court, who he's getting a little bit uncomfortable with. You know, they're not the ones that I bought and paid for. This is my phrase. The ones that I bought and paid for aren't ruling in my favor to support my policies. Right, because it's unconstitutional. It's illegal. It's rogue. And we're just watching one abuse of power day by day off to the next. So come back here on Legal AF. We'll report on what's going on with Obrego Garcia and the motion for contempt as the new papers come in. And as we get our hot little hands on the unredacted versions of these things, we'll report on it right here on Legal AF. Take a moment, hit the subscribe button, come over to Legal AF, the Substack. You'll see this order. You can read it for yourself under Filings AF. And I think that'll do it for this particular hot take. Until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.